Good evening and welcome to EvilGinger Miniatures. This is part 2 of yesterday's episode. It's not quite the episode I was expecting because I thought I would be building a load of stuff which turned out not to be what I thought it was. That rather disconcerted me, but it's been dealt with. What I am going to talk about, as pictured in the thumbnail, are these Tankchas. They're from war bases. I've got 3 of them. They have movie steering bits. The horses attached by reins to the front rather than by poles. It's an interesting construction, quite a bit fiddly, and requires a mix of glue and super glue, and is made of a mix of 2mm laser cut MDF and grey board, which is this stuff here. It's a single thin, probably about mil thick, possibly thinner cardboard. It's a bit of a faff to use, especially when you have to bend it, even though it's very well designed, like most, or like everything I've ever had from war bases. It does suffer a tiny bit from the war bases. This is too precise, so you have to do occasional bits of filing to get things to fit from the angle that you have to fit them. But these are going to be sprayed. I've decided for now that these are going to be sprayed green. They are for a Russian army, and then they're done, and they will be going off to a very nice young lady who has been particularly nice and posting loads of stuff on my group, the EvilGinger painting group, and to encourage Mr. CP Miniatures to build some crew for them, because these need dwarves, because it's for the Army of the Mercy and Hold. Got 3 of them. They're pretty much identical, but they're a nice model. If I did a lot of swearing at them, because the instructions are not as bad as the ones I've had on many things, but because they're pictures and photographs taken from an angle, you can't see the other angles, and I'm just being nitpicky, really. They're not in the league of the thing I'm going to complain about next, which is the Wargames Atlantic stuff that I'm currently building. I'm building for my own project, which is Forbidden Ruin 1914. I'm going to have to think of a better name for that before I go online, before I start filming games. But this is basically a fantasy historical crossover where a half company of British troops from 1914 get involved in a war in a classic fantasy world by accident. They're camped in the wrong place in the wood between worlds, and they'll end up fighting Gavin Asnil, and it'll be Lee Enfield and Bayonet against the might of his hobgoblin horde. All great fun, I hope. And I've got every intention of filming everything when I've got the back workbench in the workshop cleared, and I can use it as a gaming board again. Used to game on it in the past, but it is currently covered in stuff. In fact, I seem to generate stuff feels whenever I'm about, because I've been working here a bit and there is stuff everywhere. Would help if I'd managed to get rid of all of the shredding. Unfortunately, I have got a lot of shredding in the thing, and I have not been able to empty the bin, and they're not empty till next week. And I can't afford a commercial bin, and I'm not entirely sure whether I could get it down into the area where I store my bins, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But it might be something for the future, because waiting for the bin people around here is a bit of a pain. But I have been happy. I've been doing stuff. First of all, over here I have, and I'm going to get a webcam so I can actually swing it around. But over here I have and I'll photograph it when I've done this and post it on the group. The first platoon of the British. I was intending just to build a section which is in 1914 12 men, a corporal and a lance corporal, but being a wargamer and doing wargaming things, it is expanded. I also, owing to having to try and find out how clarify something with the construction of the sprues that I bought for it. I bought 10 models, which should have been enough. I ordered a couple more sprues from the sprue shop, and they've not arrived yet because I told him to hang on to the stuff that was on back order until it was all there and send it all at once rather than sending it in little bits, because he's a small business and I don't want him paying postage. He didn't have to. Anyway, I bought, when I went with Stu and Bo to Partisan last, 3 boxes of British World War One soldiers for another project, which never get anywhere. I also bought 3 boxes of German World War One troops, and I was going to do Through the Mud and the Blood with Bo and Stu, and anyone else that was interested in it, because I like the rule set. Even though it's out of print, it's still available as a PDF. They would have been mid to late war, so 1917, 1918, so in the helmet with gas masks, not in the service cap and without gas masks. However, faffing around and looking for the instructions, which basically how the arm-pair system works, because there are no actual printed instructions, which is not shocking given I was sprues, but when I went and looked in the boxes, like this one, there were no instructions in there. And I had to go and look up online to watch a review video to find out how they worked. This is naughty. This is very naughty. I've seen worse, but it's really naughty and it does put me off. But I'm now turning these slowly into 1914 troops rather than 1917, 18 troops, and I will be working on. I'll be replacing that, as I will be doing a full half company. Incidentally, half company is the minimum manoeuvre unit for the British Army infantry in 1914. Consists of 2 platoons of 40 odd men and a platoon command and a company command, and possibly elements of the company command. Also, for the purposes of Forgotten Ruins, I have also included in the mix one of the battalion's MG teams. This is the Commander Observer. The model is Wargames Atlantic, but the arms and the binoculars come from Perry Miniatures Sudan models, as they're as close as I can get, same as the swords. They came off the same command strap. That's the commander of the machine gun section. He will have number 1 machine gun, and there will be a group of people. There will be crew for that, and then there will be gun servants and a car, and that will be the main support weapon. They may or may not run into other support weapons later on. I have a lost 13-pounder Royal Horse Artillery gun in mind as a potential. I've got built part of the platoon, but I'm fiddling along slowly and just making stuff done for them. The sections are 12 strong, but it wasn't uncommon for people from the sections to be drawn off into the command section. This is commander of a platoon and his sergeant. Again, scratch built mostly from Wargames Atlantic, but the sword is from the Perry Sedan sprue, as it was the closest in period that I had. Swords were mostly dropped by officers later on because they were one of the things that you distinguished an officer by, and lots of officers carried rifles. But this is 1914, pre-Mons, so it's before that's happened. I had to check because all of these troops have got wire cutters on them. Now, I didn't know, and I've had to do some research to find out, whether or not these were issued in 1914. Apparently they were, which is why I didn't have to go to the trouble of slicing them off every single bayonet, because the assembly is bayonet and wire cutters. See them on the sprue there. There they are. So I hope you can. As I say, I like these models. Could do with a few more figures with service caps on, but it's not as if we haven't got enough heads, as we've got solo topies, covered helmets, uncovered helmets, and service caps. But again, given variety, I would like another maybe 10 different heads with service caps. It'd be the sort of thing that Wargames Digital version of Atlantic would do if I had a 3D printer, which I don't. I also did a bugler for the company commander, and he has the bugle from the Perry Command sprue that I got everything off. This is what's left of it on there. Didn't have a drummer. I might use the dog for something, and these are obviously in tropical kit, because they've got the topies on, and again there's a nice wounded figure. The arms aren't quite as sculpted on the Perry as they are on the Wargames Atlantic, and it does look a bit disconcerting, but I'm hoping when painted up and used on the table, no one will get too upset by that. That's pretty much all I've got to do at the moment. I was going to be building stuff, but I've been building stuff on and off all afternoon, and I can show you bits and pieces in process. This guy is pretty much done, but I need to put the back pack and 2 packs on the back and the bayonet and cutters. This guy is another squad Lance Corporal. All of the NCOs that I'm doing have got their rifles in one hand. This one is a slight clip lash in that the rifle goes across the body a little bit, so I've just turned it outwards so it's upright. They normally sit much more like this one, which is a similar thing and shows, but it's completed. I need to primer this. I have got a lamp for primering, so I can see what I'm doing in here, and I've got auxiliary lighting. The lamp I bought needs a bulb, so I need to go and get that, and also need to find a place to put it and plug it in, because again, it'll be a photography lamp as well, just an angle poise. I thought I had a spare bulb for it, I don't, so I'm going to have to order some more. But that's going to have to wait, but it's a standard desk lamp, and I can have it over here for painting. When this is gone, I've replaced it with the desktop. I can have it over there for photography when I've got the photography desk set up. At the moment, it's just going on the floor out of the way, and as far as anything, a tiny little box room is out of the way. And that's pretty much me for now, but I hope you're enjoying the fact that I'm at least getting back into the business, and hopefully I'll be talking to people in person tomorrow. Rain willing. I would have been tonight possibly, but it was peeing it down earlier and I didn't get out to do various things before going out, and just complicates the issue, as well as the tendency for me to want to be a bit agoraphobic and stay in. Stuff will be sorted in here. There's lots of tidying up to do. There's boxes to go through. There's shredding to do. There's loads of stuff to do, but we're making progress. And I've also got to put all my commission stuff out of the way until I'm in a mental state where I can actually deal with it. Thought it was yesterday, but that surprise commission stuff wrecked me a little bit. Anyway, that's another 15 minutes of me chanting at the internet, and I think that's more than enough. So goodbye for me now, and take care, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye. Take care, everybody.